So we want you to be part of the conversation. Follow us on all our social media platforms and at Dominion Broadcast, and drop your thought using the hashtag Morning on Dominion, whether it's politics, lifestyle, or just your favorite viral moment. We want to hear from you.
All right, people, so grab your coffee or tea if that's what you prefer. Get comfortable and let's get started. It's time for your morning rundown on Daybreak Live. Hello, Pat.
Hello, good morning.
Good to see you
Good to see
today.
you
You look wonderful, beautiful.
Oh, thank
with
you.
all the blinging, blinging.
Well, today we are diving into a hot and trending topic that has been stirring conversation across Nigeria. Main JAMB has officially bowed to public pressure, and it's now reviewing the 2025 UTME conduct and results.
Absolutely, part for context. The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, is the body that oversees the UTME, Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, which is the gateway for students seeking admission into Nigerian universities, whether federal or state. It's a big deal naturally. Every action they take affects millions of young Nigerians.
And now, what makes this review so significant is that it comes after a wave of complaints and pressure from parents, candidates, and even some educational stakeholders. There have been reports of technical glitches, unusual result patterns, and suspicion of unfair practices during the 2025 UTME.
Exactly, and when you have thousands of students scoring drastically low despite thorough preparation, and others reporting issues like being logged out at the middle of the examinations or getting scores that don't reflect their performance, of course the public will raise eyebrows.
So now, JAMB has announced it's reviewing both the conduct of the exam and the release results. That's a bold move, but what does it really mean?
All right. Well, at its core, it means that JAMB is going back to investigate how the exams were administered, especially at the CBT centers. It's going to be checking whether the systems function properly and if there were examination malpractices and how accurate result grading was.
Well, right. This could lead to some major implications. First, some results may be upgraded, cancelled, or even reissued. So JAMB may discover discrepancies that force them to remark or reevaluate certain candidates' scores.
I see, but that's a big one because, you know, universities actually rely on those scores for admission list. So if the results change, it could cause a delay the 2025 admission process, especially for federal universities where they have a very tight academic calendar.
Well, Abby, another thing here is this review set up precedent, and it shows that public voices can influence institutional accountability.
Exactly.
And hopefully it will push JAMB to improve its technology and an exam monitoring system in the future.
There is power in numbers, if you ask me. Yes, looking ahead, we might see JAMB introduce, you know, more advanced technologies. I'm talking about the AI. You know, AI is the in thing now. At days, everybody is talking about AI. That technology wouldn't be bad, especially surveillance of real-time monitoring of the CBT centers. And then they could also, you know, add a more robust result verification system before the public, you know, before they release these results to the public.
Well, honestly, this could be the beginning of more transparency, and imagine if in the future students could see a breakdown of the scores or even give a brief performance report, like which areas they did well in or struggle with.
I love that idea, part because beyond just scoring candidates, JAMB should also help them learn and grow. I mean, that's what education is all about.
Yes. So in summary, while this JAMB review may cause some short-term delays or confusion, it could lead to long-term improvement in the credibility, fairness, and efficiency of UTME in Nigeria.
Okay, and for all the students out there, stay hopeful. If you believe your score didn't reflect, your effort, well, JAMB might just be giving you a second chance through this process.
Well, we will be keeping a close eye on the story as it unfolds. Stay tuned and do not forget, your voice matters.
Exactly, your voice matters, and that's what's important. All right, that's all from us on this hot topic. We'll be talking more about it when our in-studio analyst gets here. We'll be right back after the break with more on Daybreak Live, only on Dominion Television, Ibadan.
So stay informed, stay engaged. Up next is Daybreak News. Don't go away. Good morning once again.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Sarah Owane. Now the news in detail. The federal government has announced the temporary closure of the Ijora Marine Bridge in Lagos State from May 18th to carry out urgent repairs that will last for 21 days. According to a statement released by the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Olukorede Kesha, said that the closure will begin at 7 a.m. on the commencement day. She stated that some section of the bridge would be completely closed, while others will experience partial closure during the period, and adding that repairs would involve lifting the bridge deck to replace worn-out bearings and carry out other critical maintenance work. The House representative has rejected a bill seeking to amend the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to strip the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of its powers to register and regulate political parties. The bill, co-sponsored by the Speaker of the House, Abbas Tajuddin, and Francis Wave, was presented for second reading but was voted down. Other rejected bills include a bill to alter the Constitution to provide for the establishment, independence and functions of the Office of State Auditors, General for Local Governments, and the Federal Capital Territory Area Councils. Similarly, the House of Representatives has rejected a constitutional amendment bill seeking to rotate the office of the President and Vice President among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. In addition, the House rejected 6 other constitutional alteration bills listed in the other paper for the House for consideration. The House had, at the commencement of the debate, set aside its rules to allow it to take the constitutional alteration bill simultaneously, while allowing members to choose any of the 7 listed on which they wish to debate on. The Senate has asked the military to urgently redeploy personnel and advanced equipment to Borno and Yobe State, following a resurgence of attack by Boko Haram terrorists in the areas. The resolution followed renewed insurgent attack in the northeast region, including the killing of over a dozen soldiers in Matel town of the Mongono local government area, and subsequent assault on Jigaram, the headquarters of Ngazi local government area. In a motion raised by the Senate Chief Whip, Tahir Mongono, lawmakers noted that while two-thirds of the local government areas in Borno were once under Boko Haram control, collaborative efforts between the Nigerian military and the civilian joint task force have successfully reclaimed the territories. The bill to turn Yaba College of Technology into a University of Technology and Vocational Studies has scaled through the second reading in the Senate. The bill, after being read for the second time, was referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and TETFund for further legislative action and report back in 4 weeks. The move was presided over by the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Baru Jibrin. In his lead debate on the general principle of the bill, the Senate leader, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, APC, Ekiti Central, said that the bill essentially seeks to transform and upgrade the Yaba Tech to Yaba Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, Yaba Lagos State, which had already been done via a presidential fiat. Justice Binta Yanko of the Federal High Court in Abuja has set June 27 to give a final judgment in the case filed by suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Akpoti-Uduaghan, who is challenging a suspension from the Senate, took the matter to court after the Senate, led by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, suspended her over claims of misconduct. In her case, she included the National Assembly, the Senate President, and the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privilege, and Code of Conduct Senator Neda Imamasu as the defendant. The Lagos State government has launched a bus reform initiative aimed at overhauling public transportation, starting with a pilot scheme along the Lagos-Ekpe corridor. Implemented through the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, the initiative focuses on enhancing commuter safety, improving operational efficiency, and leveraging technology to tackle the state's transport challenges. Speaking in an interview, Director of Transport Operation at the Ministry of Transportation, Olasukomi Ojowuro, highlighted safety as the core of the reform, noting that smaller buses will ferry passengers from inner communities to major hubs, ensuring seamless integration with larger routes. Plateau State is gearing up to host the 13th National Delegates Conference of the Forum of State Independent Electoral Commission of Nigeria. The chairman of the Plateau State Independent Electoral Commission, Planji Sishak, disclosed this at a press conference in Jos, saying that the National Delegates Conference, scheduled to take place from May 21st to May 23rd, 2025, will bring together delegates from 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. According to him, the theme of conference is the local government election in Nigeria, issues, challenges, and opportunities. The Nigeria Police Force, through a press statement released and signed by the Public Relations Officers ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, has debunked viral claims suggesting that one of its helicopters was used to deliver food items to armed bandits in Kogi State, describing the allegation as misleading and false. According to the police, the operation was conducted on Saturday, May 10, 2025 by a coalition of joint security forces, including police operatives, local vigilantes, and hunters. The deployment of the helicopter was part of a broader tactic mission to tackle banditry and other violent crimes in the region. The Arewa Youth Assembly has alleged that the opposition are responsible for recent calls demanding the suspension of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, over claims of corruption. In a statement released, the group dismissed the allegation as politically motivated and unfounded, accusing a group identified as the Arewa United Patriots of being a faceless and fictitious organization created solely to smear the reputation of the SGF and distract him from his official responsibilities. According to the group, the allegations are part of a larger conspiracy aimed at destabilizing the current government by targeting key figures committed to the presidential renewed hope agenda. On business, the World Bank has projected that Nigeria's inflation rate will average 22.1% in 2025, attributing the anticipated decline to the Central Bank of Nigeria's tight monetary stance aimed at restoring price stability and anchoring inflation expectations. The projection was contained in a statement published on the World Bank website following the formal launch of the latest edition of the Nigeria Development Update Report in Abuja. According to the report, while macroeconomic indicators have improved significantly, particularly GDP growth, revenue mobilization, and fiscal consolidation, headline inflation remains a pressing concern. And now in sports, the President of Nigeria Tennis Federation, Ifedayo Akindoju, has felicitated with 3 Nigerian tennis referees following their certification by the International Tennis Federation as white badge referees. Akindoju gave the commendation during a reception dinner organized by the NFT in their honor in Abuja, commending the referees for making the federation and the country so proud. According to reports, the trio, Joseph Edili, Beatrice Danjuma, and Folashade Ogunshola, achieved the feat on April 27 in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. You can now visit our website on www.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. That ends Daybreak News. My name is Sarah Owane.
I thank you so much for staying with us on Daybreak Live this beautiful morning. All right, it's now time for us to go to the dailies and give you the headlines making the rounds.
All right, this morning we will be looking at the front pages of newspapers available to us, and we'll begin with the Nigerian Tribune with this big banner saying PDP senators drop to 30 as Alero, 2 other Kebbi senators join APC.
All right,
and that's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Also coming from the Nigerian Tribune, Tinubu, Jonathan, Akpabio, Delta Governor and others honor Edwin Clark, celebrate him as fearless statesman. You can find this on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Well, on the front page of Nigerian Tribune, we have this: food security, federal government rates Ekiti high in agricultural investment, and that's on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Wow, interesting. Ekiti State, not even Benue. All right, Osun Assembly endorses Adeleke, that's Senator or Governor Ademola Adeleke for second term. You can find the story on page 4.
And still from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, we have reps reject bill on rotational presidency among 6 geopolitical zones. And page 4 of the paper has that.
Interesting. All right, June 12, Lamido urges Tinubu to settle 45 billion naira owed Abiola family. With the riders Nigeria not where it should be, says Obasanjo. Tinubu celebrates Lamido, reaffirms commitment to political inclusion. You can find the story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Well, from the Nigerian Tribune as well, Senate worries over resurgence of Boko Haram in Borno. Yobe, killing of 12 soldiers, and the rider calls for swift military action.
All right, if we want to talk about metro stories, on the bottom part, on the right-hand side of the Nigerian Tribune, you can find the story that court sentences man to death for killing friend over cap.
That story was on I think it was on one newspaper yesterday, having that at night as well.
Oh, really? I would love to see what that story is about.
Why?
I mean, the way people get so aggressive these days over little to nothing. How do you kill somebody?
Like yesterday, I was saying that there might be more to that.
Not just
the cap.
Because how could the cap just cause you
to kill somebody?
All right.
Well, away from that, we'll move to New Telegraph. A New Telegraph with a big banner. Reps reject rotational presidency, won't stop INEC from registering parties. And also, with the rider, also drop bill seeking to increase number of judges in federal high court, others. And that's on page 2 of the New Telegraph.
Also coming from the New Telegraph, on the bottom part, it says CTG, 100,000 youths jobless after federal government's training programs. And this is coming from stakeholders, and it has the rider: urge government to give Nigerians textile industry 40% market share control, industry suffering from implementation crisis. And you can find the story on page 3 of the New Telegraph. 100,000 youths jobless after federal government's training programs. Wow.
That's huge.
Very huge.
We have this: terrorism. Redeploy troops to Borno, Yobe urgently. Senate tells military. Boko Haram overrun military base, kill 5 soldiers.
Also coming from the New Telegraph, May 30 will stay at home in honor of our fallen heroes. Masop says action voluntary. You can find this story on page 7 of the New Telegraph.
Well, the upper part of the New Telegraph will have this: APC maintains simple majority as Kebbi PDP senators defect to ruling party. Page 2 of the New Telegraph. That's Ganduje saying that.
Okay, Anambra Guba, confusion in PDP over nomination letter to INEC on page 27 of the New Telegraph.
And also, Rivers women protest pirates kidnap of 8 students sitting WASC. Seek police intervention.
All right, Nigerians Obodo medium sweet crude blend enters global market. This is coming from the New Telegraph on page 8.
And this is coming from CBN, targets $1 billion monthly inflows, a new BVN platform for diasporans.
Okonjo-Iweala, tariffs create global challenges and opportunities, on page 8 of the New Telegraph.
And I think that's all we have from New Telegraph.
All right, we'll move over to the Leadership newspaper. The Leadership newspaper, the major story here says concerns over INEC's 142 electoral reform proposals, with the riders, CSOs, analysts express worry over delay, fear it may affect 2027 general elections, reforms on curse, says lawmakers. Another writer says reps reject bill on rotational presidency. You can find the story on page 4 of the Leadership newspaper.
Leadership newspaper here. We are building critical transport infrastructure in FCT. That's coming from the Minister of Federal Capital Territory. Yes, Wike.
You know, I mean, when the analyst comes in, I would love to ask this. When it comes to Wike, there's been so much media
about him.
Media pally. I'm wondering, is he the only minister? Do you know how many media pallies Wike has had over the months?
You remember that the president said any of the ministers that is not functioning in his cabinet, he will remove them. So I guess that's part of.
Oh, this is the functioning. Okay, wonderful. All right, Senate seeks inclusion of local government representatives in FAC. You can find this on page 6 of the Leadership newspaper.
Well, that's one too from page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. Court rules on Natasha's suspension on June 27.
Okay, federal government integrates AI in curriculum delivery, page 8. Okay, AI is becoming the in thing now.
It's becoming what we will need to accept in the society, into our lives, daily activities. Well, we have real signs agreement with 58 firms for solar mini grids.
All right, why CNG bus initiative is not working in states. You can find this on page 17 if you would like to know why.
Why is not working, and why did they initiate it before?
Okay, maybe when you read that story, you'll find out.
Well, I think that's all we have from. Okay, we have this APC caucus soars to 68 as 3 PDP senators join party.
What is happening to PDP and APC? Okay, we'll go over to the Guardian newspaper. From there, stakeholders reject plan, flay stalled proposals, high military casualties. This is on the matter of National Security Summit. And you can find the story on page 6 of the Guardian newspapers.
Well, I think I think this one is actually caught my attention. NIDCOM confirms 20 million Nigerians abroad as migration dialogue emphasis protection.
Okay, why did it catch your attention?
Because we've been talking about migration for a very long time. Even yesterday we dealt on it while we saw it on the one of the front pages of the newspaper, where they said Russian recruits more Nigerians to fight Ukraine, and there are so many people in Cote d'Ivoire that were actually brought back home, which it's not even the slavery now is modern slavery, not the way it was in the olden days, and you keep on asking why. And from what the analyst said yesterday, he said poverty is the main cause of that.
Poverty in Nigeria?
Poverty in Nigeria.
Okay. All right. All right. Still from the Guardian newspaper, Ganduje and wife others to face prosecution as court rejects application over alleged fraud. You can find this on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper.
Well, Nigeria loses $18 billion to illicit financial flows as debt servicing gulped 70% of revenue, and that's on page 3 of the Guardian.
All right, talking about UTME, Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations, like we talked about this morning. 19-year-old commits suicide in Lagos over low score. You can find this on Metro page 9. Really sad. I mean, suicide shouldn't be an option, people. It's just a score. I know a lot of people expected more. But why should it get to suicide?
And I think at this point we need to advise parents too. There are some parents who tell you, oh, I've gone extra mile to get you the form, and now you're coming out with low grade. You don't need, this is not the time for you. I mean,
pressure from parents.
Pressure from parents. This is not the time for you to insult them. Do you understand? Just try and encourage them and tell them to do more next time, to improve next time.
You know, from this story, I don't know.
Them and put pressure on them.
Okay, I actually saw the story yesterday about this 19-year-old. There's this, what she took, I can't remember the name. And then she went to her sister's office or so. Whoa. Yes, so it was there. You know, she started feeling pains in her tummy, and they thought it was just joke or something easy. And before you know, she started shouting. Before they could rush her to hospital, that's when she actually spoke up to say she took something. I'm wondering, you know, normally you hear suicide issues of people, maybe they take insecticide or something in their house, but she took it and went out. But I mean, come on, it's not enough now. I know we might say, well, everybody reacts to things differently. But suicide shouldn't be an option. And she's just 19. You know, like I said, it's not like you've been doing JAMB for years now, because that can be very frustrating.
I remember those days that you write JAMB, you revise, you write. These days you find 23 years or 20 years or 19 years in school. Those days you have maybe 25 years, that's an 100 level.
But I mean, please, suicide is not an option. Please, let's do better. No. But may her soul rest in peace. If you're watching this morning,
if you're watching this morning and you're trying to do this, don't. This is not an option. It's not a good one for you.
It's not the end of the world. You could try again, please. Let's encourage our children. Let's encourage our words.
And of course, review is ongoing as regards the...
Exactly. Oh, I didn't tell you. You know, from that story, I think later they found out that I think her mark was like 190 or something. I can't remember. But I think a letter actually came for admission. I mean, you should check out that story after this whole brouhaha. Now you see. All right, let's continue with our story. It is really sad. May her soul rest in peace.
Yes. Amen.
All right, Nigerians brace for impact as U.S. proposes 5% tax on remittances. You can find this on Panorama page 2 of the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, former president is talking here. Nigeria must work, says Obasanjo, as Lamido seeks closure to June 12 saga. That's on page 6 of the Guardian.
The Guardian newspaper. I think that'll be all for the Guardian newspaper.
Oh, well, the last one here, there's a small one. Egypt laws additional for transforming Africa.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to him.
So away from the Guardian, we go to Daily Asset.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's see what Daily Asset has there. We have June 12, Bay Abiola family 45 billion naira debt. Lamido tells Tinubu riders, says MK was doubly punished. Obasanjo, Tinubu hail Lamido at book launch.
All right, also coming from the Daily Asset, stable electricity. Nigeria needs $10 billion investment annually for 10 years. 10 years, says federal government. With the riders, minister blames infrastructure deficit, insufficient investment, and others. Energy bill grants autonomy to over 11 states. And this is coming from Adelabu as the minister.
As the minister for power. Well, we have this too. The top upper part of the Daily Asset. CBN launches non-resident BVN to boost diaspora inclusions for remittances.
Okay. ECOWAS Bank set to open Cote d'Ivoire country office. It's on page 21. And Overland Airways resumes daily flights to Warri on page 22. If we look Guinness Book, Nigeria's Joshua sets to break world record in, is that barbing?
In barbing.
Oh, wow. I mean, Nigerians are breaking a lot of records these days.
Why won't they?
I mean,
because they are in an environment that is conducive for them to try.
You know, since Hilda, made her debut, it's been from one record to another. Everybody is trying to break records.
I'm breaking
these days,
records.
especially
I'm breaking records.
For which one?
I'll let you know.
Daybreak Live. You will do it for 1 week, non-stop. All right, producer, please take notes. Pat would like to do Daybreak Live to break record for 1 week. I mean, 24 hours non-stop. Wow, Pat. Nice one. Congrats. And Mr. Michael will be there to support you.
Mr. Tobisu will be there.
All right, wonderful. Okay, let's go on.
Well, away from that, we have this. Aroko Dare wins Best Africa Player Award in Belgium.
That's a Nigerian.
Yes.
Nigerians are doing us proud. I am proud to be a Nigerian.
You sure?
But I am not a regular Nigerian.
Yeah,
you won't understand. That's how I always call myself. I'm a Nigerian, yes, but I am not a regular Nigerian.
So what are you?
I am still a Nigerian, but I'm not a regular one. Okay.
That's coming from Ebi. We'll ask her much later after the show.
All right.
Okay, we have this ECOWAS Bank to set open Cote d'Ivoire country office. And that's on page 21 of the Daily Asset. Away from Daily Asset, let's quickly look at this day.
Oh, checked out this day? Oh, okay.
This day comes with a big banner with Lamido Tinubu pay Abiola's family 45 billion naira earned him to bring closure to June 12. Riders, Obasanjo says the job of Nigerian leaders not finished until they are finished.
Can there be closure to June 12? That's a question I would like to ask and know. Okay, PDP denies Anyanwu signed Anambra forms despite contrary evidence at INEC.
Well, this Trump signs $600 billion investment package and $142 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia. That's one is just at the top side of this day newspaper.
Is it with projected $12 billion annual remittance? CBN launches no resident BVN to expand financial access for Nigerians in diaspora. Okay, and with the rider Cardoso initiative will lower high cost of remittances.
Well, I think that's how much we can take on that. Oh, there are stories. Well, there are more stories that we just want you to look at. Just go grab today's day newspaper and read more on those headlines we just read to you just now. Okay, away from that,
let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust here says Boko Haram kills 4 soldiers in renewed onslaught on military bases. Are you there? All right, how to prevent sudden death in people over 60. Wow, interesting. I would like to read that. I mean, I'm almost there. Reps reject bill on rotational presidency. And on tax reform, Senate endorses 5% excise duty. Okay, and we still have the story that's been making wave on all the newspapers. Lamido and I would have challenged Tinubu if we were governor, says Amechi.
Well, there's another one here. Rivers women protest adoption of 8 students traveling for work.
Wow. This is becoming something else.
Insecurity.
So. Yes, it's not funny. It's not funny at all. I mean, during the JAMB examinations, we heard of, adoptions. We heard of killings,
even accidents.
And now we're hearing more.
These are students.
The government really need to do a lot concerning insecurity in Nigeria.
Well, this one is from Daily Trust as well. How to prevent sudden death in people over 60.
Yes, I said that. Are you getting to 60 parts? No, I'm just asking. It's just a yes or a no.
I don't have an answer to that, because when looking at me, you know I am not even close to.
You could have very wonderful genes, and your age is not telling.
No.
But I think you're getting close to 60.
No. I give
you're
it
running
to you.
away from.
I give it to you.
All right, kidnappers invade FCT community, kill 3, abduct 1. You can find that on page 34 of the Daily Trust.
Oh, this is big. This is huge. Qatar gift Trump $400 million debt.
Wow. Okay.
Why? What for?
Well, when we get to the body of that story, we'll be able to tell.
No.
Okay, let's go over to the Blueprint newspaper this morning. On the top, we have Kogi, coming from Kogi State Police, arrest 239 suspects, recovered 13 guns in 3 months. This is on page 14 of the Blueprint newspaper.
Well, this has been all over. Lamido begs Tinubu to settle 45 billion naira ICT contract that own Abiola and riders. As leaders, we have responsibility to fix Nigeria. Obasanjo, former governor, Jigawa State's governor, a pillar of nation's democracy. That's Tinubu Blueprint newspaper.
All right, on the bottom part of the Blueprint newspaper, coming from Ebonyi State, 16-year-old fakes own kidnap, demands ransom, police says.
What could have led to that?
Maybe poverty, like you had said before.
Well, it might not be poverty, maybe peer influence. Like you want them, or the parents are not actually doing what exactly they are supposed to do for the kid. And that's why he framed
kidnapped. All right. We'll get there.
So we have this Aliro. 2 other Kebbi senators joined APC party in chase towards 2/3 majority in Senate.
All right, and still from the Blueprint newspaper, reps reject 6 geopolitical rotational presidency. I am wondering why. All right, and Dangote growing SMEs in Nigeria and says Tinubu's aid. Okay, Pat, you want to take the spot story there?
Well, the spot story here says you under 20 AFCON, Eagles ready to lift trophy in Port Harcourt.
All right, I think that is it from the Blueprint. Which other paper?
We have Business Day. Let's look at what is happening there. Business Day has this: investment export to power Nigeria's 5-fold growth. World Bank rather. And federal government moves to overhaul the schools in power sector revamp. That's a good one. And we have National Integrated Electricity Policy 2024 and road to attaining Nigeria energy security. That's on Business Day as well. And still from there, we have a lot on Business Day. And federal government, I've read that before. Federal government moves to overhaul the school in power sector revamp. And that's from Business Day. Do you still have more stories there?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, well, you're still very much on to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television here in Ibadan. And of course, we want you to sit back and enjoy every bit of the program this morning. Well, right now, we'll go on a short break. We'll be back.
All right, when we come back, it will be time for our in-studio analyst, where we'll be talking about these topics and these headlines we've read, and our analyst will be doing justice as we discuss in-depth analysis. Thank you so much for staying with us on Daybreak Live, reaching you from Dominion Television. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at Dominion Broadcast, and on Twitter, formerly X. Formerly Twitter at Dominion Cast. All right, we'll be right back. Thank you. Keep watching and stay tuned. All right, good morning and welcome back. It's still Daybreak Live, reaching you from Dominion Television here in Ibadan. All right, our analyst is here now, and this is where we look at the issues from the front pages of our dailies. Our analyst will be here to dissect and give us in-depth analysis. We have Mr. Seun.
The issue of JAMB, I think JAMB itself needs a total overhaul. When you're talking about JAMB now bowing down to pressure, to complaints from parents and students. So now, this is where I'm coming from. We need to revisit some issues on JAMB, concerning JAMB. Now, when we used to have the old ways of doing JAMB, I don't think we have something as huge as this, as complaints coming in from students, from wards, and from their parents, complaints of different issues. Now that we are going CBT, we are going technical. Now we're having issues with JAMB. Do we still need to be having issues? But one thing I will say from this point is that JAMB itself needs to look inwards to having a proper examination conduct without having issues. From day one, we've always had issues with JAMB. I've come back concerning this CBT test of a thing.
Or like when it was manual.
Like like when it was manual. When it was manual, there was nothing like this. There was nothing like this. I could remember the days of our home manual examinations. We just go there, you sit for like 2-3 hours, you sit for an exam, then you are done. But now we have issues of students waiting in the sun to conduct a computer-based test that will take hours. How many computer-based test centers do we even have to accommodate all these people? We don't even have much centers to accommodate them. Talk less of having the computer-based centers that will run efficiently without power failures, without computer glitches, and every other things coming on. So definitely there will be. Do we actually, does JAMB itself actually put out, some of these CBT centers are privately owned, do you know that? So does JAMB actually goes to these centers to see how they were run? Before the candidates actually sit for exams? What is the capacity of those centers taking in students for exams? Do you understand? So some of these things will actually cause glitches, cause a lot of issues when it comes to sitting for the exams. So definitely we will have complaints from parents and their wards. Some students don't. How many secondary schools in Nigeria even have computer labs in their schools to prepare students to go and sit for JAMB? Now JAMB is even saying, the Ministry of Education in Nigeria is even saying we should go computer based even with WAEC, when we can't even manage JAMB itself on its own.
Wow.
So how can we manage WAEC that is now internally we can't undo JAMB? Our computer-based centers they don't have enough capacity to take our students. Now we are talking about going live again on it with WAEC.
So would you have chosen the manual instead of this computer-based?
I will still go back to manual.
You think that would be better than
that
this?
Would be better.
I thought with technology it will be easier.
Now, that's what we thought. And that's where we got it wrong.
Okay.
Having it wrong is, how many of our secondary schools actually prepare their students for computer-based tests?
You mean private or government-owned?
Even private and government. Private and government. The ones called private, how many computer labs do they have to put their students in preparation for computer-based tests across board? Maybe WAEC, maybe JAMB, maybe NECO.
You think that's a problem?
That's a major problem. There can always be, excuse me,
Sorry.
There can always be an error of English in English. A mouse is not a mouse in technology. Do they, the hardware, the software, where are we taking them from? Let's go to the rural areas. They too want to sit for JAMB. But have they been ever exposed to the issue of technology? There's a school here in Ibadan. We have a computer computer center that has been donated to the students, but has ever been put to use.
It's just there.
It's just there. And we used to have parties there.
Oh, really? It's now an event center.
So let's look at this. Let's look at it. What constitutes the mass failure on the part of JAMB and the students?
So many things. Most of the students that we have nowadays, we think they are computer-oriented, they are AI-oriented, but some of them don't actually read on the phones. They rather do TikTok and do this and do that. Most platforms don't actually are not educative enough to teach our children, whether English, mathematics, or whatever. And you want a student that is sitting for mathematics to quickly sit down with a computer or CBT to quickly answer some questions, while in the olden days, the manual ways, you still have to calculate. So how do you want me to quickly calculate now? And I am time constrained. And you think I can actually come up with a better answer or a good answer or the right answer to a particular question when I am constrained on that time, where there are still some people outside waiting to come in to take my place to sit down for the same test. Have you ever been to the computer-based centers before? And you see them lying on the road, sitting down, waiting in the sun, waiting to write an exam.
Really?
Way back in the manual days, you just go there, look for your number, and you sit down, and you are giving the paper and the thing, and you shade.
The shade, yes. The OBJ.
And you go.
And I think that's it for a day.
Just
there was no batch thing in our time. So I'm even wondering how come.
Now that we have computers, now we have batches.
When computers should be more easier.
Manual, we don't have batches. We just go there, sit down, right?
Okay, so now concerning this JAMB issue, I mean, what of the children? I know they're trying to, check it out, but a lot of children lost their lives, some were abducted, some killed. What do you think JAMB should do in such a case? Because I've not heard anything from JAMB as regards this.
Why don't we decentralize JAMB, this examination body?
How do you mean?
Now that we have MECO,
okay,
we have WAEC, we have GCE, why can't we do the same thing with JAMB?
Okay.
It is only Nigeria that we write JAMB, we sit for JAMB, while in the Western African countries, the other ones, they don't sit for JAMB. It is only the WAEC that is acceptable. If we can look at the issue of the University of Ibadan, you having your own internal body, the Olabisi Onabanjo University, you doing the same thing. This issue every school will not be able to, every university or every institution will not be able to now undo their admission process internally, with government overseeing it at the end of the day, nevertheless. But if we can do that, things will get better. But the issue of one body now, we now have more students willing to sit for this examination now. But the capacity to handle this teeming number of students wishing to sit for the exam, do we have the capacity to handle them? We actually can't run some of these centers without power. Without this, without that. How many of those centers do have it? And I'm still going back to the students. Our students are not that dull.
They are not.
They are not. We still pay for extra lessons. Those coaching centers, do they have how computer ready or how computer based ready do we put those kids? They are just going to those centers, learn theoretically, they are being taught, but computerized exams, do we actually put them through it? You want me to sit down with the computer and look at it, look at a question and, okay, which one is, okay, yeah, I will take this, I will take this in how many minutes? And you exactly.
So maybe there should be, like all the centers now, there should be something like a mock examination.
We've always had that.
And preparing them with
now don't
the
do it.
computer. Don't do the mock exams
they don't
again.
Do the mock exam. We used to have the mock exams during the GC, WAEC,
exactly,
and all those stuff. But now we don't have it. I don't think we have it anymore.
Oh, okay, let's look at the result-related thing now. JAMB begins review of 2025 UTME, how will the review impact the validity of the result already released?
That is an issue here. Now that you have released a particular set of results, now you want to review it. Do you want to tell me that after getting 250 and you review it and you reduce it to 180?
Or increase it.
Or increase it. Do you want to reduce it or you want to increase
Exactly.
it? So now that you've given me 250, you want to reduce me to 180. Will that go down well with
Because it's all review, whether it's going up
whether,
or coming down. It's
whether we are going up, whether we are going down. Why must you sit down to review a particular exam in the first place?
Because
And the
parents
result
are
has been
complaining.
released.
Has been released.
Because parents have complained.
Yes, the next issue for us to, the next thing for us to do is to now look inwards. How well has JAMB fared concerning this one, so that we can make a better preparation for the next one. Now it has happened. Reviewing is not now. Okay, do you want to add to it or you want to reduce it? The exams.
I mean, what of the
reviewing now? We already know something is wrong.
Exactly.
What is actually wrong? Do you want to review the result or do you want to add to it or reduce to it or reduce it? But reviewing, I think, should be what can we do to make it better? Not this particular result. This result have been released.
So
these
the
results have been
subsequent
released.
ones.
So what?
Subsequent,
But what of
ones.
the students they've denied? I mean, there were technical glitches in a lot of places, and
That's right.
it logged off. You know, the system logged off at middle of the
Imagine.
exam, and then you couldn't write again. So what do you do to such students? And if you are cancelling, you are saying let's look at next time. What happens to these ones? The next time that these ones are sitting now, is JAMB going to compensate them? As in with the forms and everything. I mean, these are issues now.
That is left to JAMB to now
decide.
come up to decide what to do to these students. We have the Minister for Education there, don't we? Now, JAMB, come. What can be done to salvage the situation?
It won't be
Why
fair
don't
at
we
all.
just now issue a memo out to all these universities now, institutions now, to now looking what's to have their own self-determining examination for all the students. We can still salvage the situation in that area where the University of Ibadan can say that, okay, for you intended students who wish to have an admission into our own university, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this.
Is it
behalf of JAMB, it can be done.
Before the exam, or are you talking
Now,
about this
now,
year?
now,
Okay.
this year,
Okay.
now. We can't actually, are we going to say we are not going to have any admission done this year? And we have a spillover of students for the next coming one.
So
now we
more.
have a much larger number of people now
Exactly.
to attend to. That would be another problem entirely on JAMB again.
Exactly.
May-
Now that
Mr.
comes.
Sheo.
That's where I'm coming to with numbers. You know, when we talk about, you know, like you said, if we leave more people for next year. No, I'm looking at, should there be a restriction on the number of students that apply for JAMB yearly? Do you think this will be an issue?
Already there are restrictions, but somebody was telling me that some parents circumvent the restrictions.
Well,
Some of those students don't have
Sheo, I
NIN.
would like to interject here, and I think the last question, I will align that with what Ebby asked, so that we can round off the session and move straight to what the headlines are saying this morning. Okay, if you were to advise JAMB, what would that be? And what would be your recommendation moving forward?
My own recommendation will be for JAMB to now establish a more robust computer-based centers across the nationwide, that will be solely managed by the federal government and JAMB itself, not actually relying on most of the privately owned ones that can actually accommodate the number of students they registered. All these centers register those students. You can register up to like 1,000 students. Meanwhile, you don't have the capacity to even take 200.
Okay.
How many computers do you have at your computer center to take them? But registration can be done in 3 months. But that exam should be done in a month, in a week or 2 days. registration that you did in 3 months, and you want to accommodate those people that you register for 3 months, you want to accommodate them in just 2 days.
That's one. You
That's
have another advice?
If we can actually decentralize this examination body and let our universities do their own private admission and exam-based tests for entrance, it will be better.
All right, thank you so much for your take on JAMB. We'll move over to something else, and that's what's happening on our paper. So let's look at this topic of reps rejecting rotational presidency, and they say this won't stop INEC from registering parties. And they also dropped the bill seeking to increase number of judges in federal high courts. But my concern is reps reject rotational presidency. What do you see about this?
Rotational presidency. Are we actually zoning presidency in Nigeria, or don't we? I think anybody, any region can come out to become the president based on their ideologies of what the party come up with. Not that, oh, now it's the turn of the North to become the president, or it's the turn of the Southeast or the South or the Southwest to become the president.
But
if it is your turn and you don't have anything to offer, should we actually say, well, because it's their turn, now we must now vote for this person?
But isn't all what has been happening all this while? My turn, my turn.
Now, it seems to be what is, that is what is happening, that has actually happened over the years, actually. But we have not actually come out to say that is the way it runs. But ideologically, that is what we are trying to, the reps are not trying to say that it shouldn't be like rotational. But in the mindset of everybody, we all know that that is what is happening. So if we actually now idealizes that, it becomes an ideology which we have to follow. But if we can do away with such thinking that, okay, it has to be this turn, it has to be this turn, that's what they are actually saying.
But is there anything even wrong with rotating presidency? If you look at it,
I don't think there's anything wrong.
Does it have its own pros and cons?
As long as the political platform coming up with a particular candidate actually think their own candidate can deliver, and we actually believe in the candidate, and we're actually voting for, fine, let it be. But if you are saying this is the candidate you are putting forward and it's not good enough, and you think it's because of your turn that we must vote, no.
How many of our presidential candidates have been good enough?
Everybody has this little goodness in them, but the system, the bureaucracy runs them.
All right, Pat, you want to say something?
Well, I want to ask you, how would, let's look at it, if the reps did not reject, has rotational presidency been helpful in our system?
Whether it has been helpful or not depends on the candidate in question. To me, it has not changed a bit. It is still the same thing. Whether it's the time of the North or the Southwest or South or everything still boils down to the candidate itself. And mind you, when the candidate gets there to being the president, we have so many underlying factors that will determine the performance of the fellow in question. So we can't actually say, oh, the North can do it better, or the Southwest did it better. It is the bureaucracy, the system that still runs them, that will determine their performance in office.
Is it the candidates that determines? I mean, you're talking about the candidates, if they have the right candidate. Is it the candidate? If we
have the right candidate and the candidate have the willpower to do so many things positively.
Is it the candidate that has the willpower or the party involved?
Some don't. Like I said, the system runs them. We have the party system, we have the technocrats, we have the bureaucrats that will still tell them, this is how we do it, this is what this has to be done, this has to be done. We still have the international bodies coming into play, like different countries now. our international relations with different countries. We determine how we actually do some things with our neighbors and everything. So having the willpower now to do some things now, like let's take the issue of the subsidy. Subsidy should have been long gone. Some presidents don't, some candidates have come into power and they don't have the willpower to remove it. Why one came in and have the...
So you are advocating that for this subsidy gone. Are you a member of APC?
I'm not a
It's
member
not
of
about
the party.
party.
It's not about party now.
Okay.
It's about
because
policies that we work.
It's about the president's
It's about the policies that we work. And it's not the personality.
And this policy is working. You think it's working?
I think it has worked to a minimum, to a maximal point where we've been able to pay off our international debts through the IMF.
Okay. And what else have we been able to achieve?
Some of our governors have been able to pay back their own.
Okay, so we only, it's just for paying debts.
Even the IGR has increased.
So this administration is just good for paying debts.
Even the IGR of our states have increased.
Well, let's...
And maybe where the governors are not actually saying how much they are collecting or whatever they are doing with the IGR.
What about,
somebody was telling me the IGR
we need to leave that.
What about
quickly look at
this welfare part? Why are you wanting us to leave this?
We're
talking about Nigeria.
We need to leave
welfare
that
of Nigerians hasn't improved
because of our time. And let's look at this.
It has not. It has not improved.
Let me do just
you are cutting me. No,
I am not.
I
am not cutting you, but because of our time, you know. Well, let's quickly look at this. June 12, Lamido urges Tinubu to settle 45 billion naira debt owed Abiola family.
A debt owed to
yes, would there be a closure for June 12?
Debt owed to the Abiola family. Due to what?
That's the question we're
asking. It says the ITT, I mean.
Debt.
They say it's to settle 45 billion ITT contract debt owed Abiola.
Is Nigeria owing is the ITT, I've learned about the ITT a long time ago, but what's the actual contractual agreement that now says that we are owing 45 million or how many billion? 45 billion to the Abiola family. That who is responsible? Who is to pay for it?
Tinubu. That's why Lamido is begging Tinubu
to pay it. What? A debt that now boils down to the willpower of the candidate in question. This have never come up anyhow. Anyway, now it's coming up now. Do we now say that because some debts are being paid, we should now start paying debts?
Yes, because you've said it. That I mean, Nigeria is good. We've done subsidy. We've paid IMF. So let's continue to pay. Since all we know how to do is to borrow and pay.
But
in Nigeria,
did we borrow the ITT money? We didn't borrow the ITT money.
Whatever it is,
so
let's be paying debts now. Since that will make the economy better.
What we can do concerning that is, let us have an agreement. Let us come together. Let us discuss in the first place. The Abiola family has never come out to say that we are owing them, that the government is owing them anything. Now, Lamido is saying we are owing the Abiola family, which has never even come up anywhere, anyhow. But Lamido is now coming out to say that we owe them. How did it come into being? How did it come into being? Is the ITT still functioning? Is it functioning? It's not functioning anymore. So how come the issue of 45 billion naira that needs to be paid back to the Abiola family? And the Abiola family, have they ever come out to say that, oh, they are owing us 45 billion naira?
They might not come out to tell us, but people that know about it are the ones saying it.
That knows about the 45 billion. Then you should explain to us how it comes to be.
Before paying.
Before paying. I can explain to us. If the people that are being owed cannot come out to say they are being owed. Now you are coming out to tell us, we are owing you people. Now tell us how it came to be.
All right, Mr. Sheon Oluwole is asking that you people need to tell us how the money to play. Well, at this point, we want to say thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate you so much for coming. All right now, we now join Osare on Trend Watch as she takes us on the happenings on the social media. Osare, good morning. How are you? To use the very much on to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television here in Ibadan. So right now, Osare is standing by to let us know what is happening on the social media. Osare, good morning.
Hi, Pat. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing
You
too?
look radiant this morning.
Thank you.
What
can I
you're
say?
Blushing. All right, yes. Over to you.
All right. So what is happening on the streets of social media? That is why Trend Watch is here. So welcome. Let us gist. My name is Osare Masaba. Most people know me as the Edo Queen. Now, what is trending on the streets of social media? Recently, we saw that Vicky James, let me call her a world-renowned fashion designer, has come out to call out a Senegalese designer who apparently stole her designs. Now, he did it what? Copy for copy. I'm talking about same color, same designs. In terms of beading, he copied exactly, how she did it. And she called him out, saying, you did not even try, you not just copy, but you did not give credits. And he decided to do like a full documentary. You know how Vicky James does it now? She would do like this outfit and then she would do a documentary or a video talking about how she, thought about the design, spoke with the clients and how they arrived, the final look or the masterpiece, as she always refers to her pieces. Now we saw that this designer pretty much did the same, where he just did a photocopy of the dress. If we take a look at the video where we see, his own outfit, we see that from the top to the bottom, he literally copied every single thing. Now, Vicky James actually did this dress for Miss South Africa 2024 last year. And, when it came out, everybody was loving it. Everybody was in love with it. And to see that, this designer now came to do his own version, there were mixed feelings on social media. All right. But my genuine question is, we see that a number of people are like, we always see styles online from different designers, maybe in Nigeria or not. So is it that we should always ask each designer before we use their style, before we give them to our own tailor in our backyard to sew, right? How exactly does this work? But I think genuinely what Vicky James was trying to point out here is that there was no credit given and it was pretty much a copy work. This is Vicky James' original, outfits. We see that although, it's the same color as the copy now, we see that, I would say, I don't know about everybody else. Some other people had, different opinions, but we would say that, her finishing, from the top to the bottom was much neater than that of the Senegalese design. But like I said, there were mixed reactions of this on social media, and let's just see what a few comments, about this copy had to say. All right. So Wura says, I know this is theft, but in a world of what I ordered versus what I got, can we talk about how that designer ate that up? Truthfully, I mean, it's a very, very similar and good copy, to be honest. And Tiana Chris says, he didn't even change a single thing. It's like when you copy someone in the example and copy their name too. Literally, because he copied the same color, the beading, even the plates. He do copy everything. I think for what I feel, I'm not a designer, but I feel what Vicky James is saying, because to have worked on that masterpiece would have taken a lot, in terms of the process and the finishing, right? What she just needed was give credit to whom credit is due, right? But later on, after people were dragging him, he eventually went back to edit his post and put inspiration by Vicky James official. So eventually, he was able to give credit, but that was after people dragged him. And, others were of the opinion that, now because Vicky James called him out, he has now gotten undue publicity, and who knows, more people might just be, patronizing him. But I think moving forward, when you want to give your tailor clothes to sew for you, at least, even if you want to do exactly, change something, maybe change the sleeve, right? Or change the neckline, or change the bottom, just so like there's a little bit of originality in the new design. That's where creativity, comes in, right? So before you pick any random obioma, make sure that your tailor actually has a bit of creativity, so that when you give them designs, they're giving a little twist to it so that it looks special and beautiful. Now, moving away from fashion, we're going to be talking about Mercy Johnson being in the news recently. Now, it's no news that, she has come out more with a different look. Okay, so yes, Mercy Johnson Okojie, has lost some weight, and she's been very vocal about it. People have been talking about it. They are talking today, they're talking tomorrow, they will still talk again about her weight. But to be honest, she's here saying she doesn't really care, right? Because it is her body and she's free to do what she wants to do with it. Now, a few people are of the opinion that, she's projecting this weight loss to her Slimming Tea products. And, others are saying, oh, maybe she's not feeling well. And, others are always saying, people will always talk and people would always body shame, which is not great. But a few other people are saying that she doesn't look great, that they prefer the old Mercy Johnson. But I remember recently, just like this slide, Daniel Rega, our friend, or you people's friend, on social media came out to say he doesn't like Mercy Johnson, her look recently. And Solomon Buchi, that is very controversial, came out to give it back, to him as it hot. And he says, you're silly. You don't like how a married woman looks because she lost weight. She might be ill, depressed, going through stuff, but what matters to you is what you like. Stop commenting on people's weight. The world bullied Chadwick Boseman for looking ill, not knowing he was battling stage 4 cancer. If you can't be kind, just so this is pretty much a response not just to Daniel Rega, but other people who are making unnecessary or unkind comments about how Mercy Johnson looks recently. And to be honest, is how she wants to look, and that is how she's projecting herself. And she has obviously come out to say she really doesn't care, that people would always talk. If you do good, people would talk. When she was probably bigger, people probably were still talking. We see this as as the same pattern with Real Worry Pikin, when she was big and when she eventually became smaller. But let's see what this comment has to say. Akoswa Stella says, has anyone ever paused to consider that she may be battling a silent ailment that she may not want to share? On Moliva alone, no, the bullying is too much. Now, whether this is an illness or not, just like Solomon Buchi said, be what? Be kind. As you're going out today, be kind. When you are returning, be kind, right? If someone is coming out looking different from how they used to be, especially if you're not close to the person, don't pry except the person shares. Do not pry, just be kind. And if that is how she prefers to look, then that is up to her and not your personal business. Okay? I think it's just because they're in the spotlight. But moving on from personal appearance, we're moving over to the story with the Kardashians. Now, of course, everyone knows the Kardashian family And, you know, sometime back in 2016, now this was 9 years ago, Kim Kardashian was robbed in Paris when she went for Paris Fashion Week. Now, yes, it's been 9 years, but that robbery, you know, is still being tried currently in the court. And you know, late yesterday, she went to testify in court. Now, when she was robbed in 2016, she literally said she thought her life was going to be taken, right? And she was just thinking, you know, when you are in near-death experiences, you just see your life flash before your eyes. It literally was that, you know, for her. Right. So, I mean, thankfully, they did not kill her. They just carted away with her jewelry and, you know, all her precious items. I'm talking about jewelry worth $4 billion, worth $4 billion. No, 4 million. Billion, but she had plenty money. But yes, it was $4 million, including her engagement ring from her then husband, Kanye West. So yesterday, she gave her recount, you know, at the court. And even while she was testifying, you know, we had some of the accused in the court present as well. And I think what, you know, was interesting to see was that, one of the culprits in this case actually apologized whilst she was speaking, and you know, she turned over to him to say, "It's okay, I forgive you." And I mean, it was a great thing to see and hear, right? So we see that despite going through that trauma and having to recount it 9 years after, she was able to still speak in court and, you know, even give forgiveness to those who wronged her. I mean, we even see that the people who actually, you know, robbed her were like 68. It was a whole gang, 68, 71, you know, all of them, they were like a little elderly. But I mean, big ups to her for, you know, giving that forgiveness, but she still has to live with the scar. And I would just still say everybody should get some form of security for yourself, or know how to defend yourself. You know, we don't pray to be in such security breached environments, but we want everyone to be safe for themselves. And of course, we're hoping that justice is served, which is, you know, also in line with her studying law and being able to speak up for those who cannot. But I mean, it is what it is. As we're going out today, remember to be kind and remember to be original and creative in your designs and when you're giving your tailor clothes, and also remember to forgive when you can and just be security conscious. I could go on and on, should I? But no. I'll hand over to Pat and Evie in the studio. That's all on Trend Watch this morning.
Well, sorry, thank you so much. Well, the actual part I was actually laughing is we want to do something, you want to copy someone. Yes. You did not even copy a little, you copied the whole thing.
Down to the color.
That one I copy and paste.
Copy and paste.
Well, all the same. Then concerning Mercy Johnson, I think from the book I read sometimes ago, Loving Me, if you really don't like what you're saying in your body, you can as well do something about it. Maybe that's what she felt and why she went for what she went for.
Exactly, so. And it's her decision.
But it's her decision. So if you like her. If you like, you don't like her. She don't do her. She don't do her. All right, thank you so much, Sarah, for that.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. All right, you're still very much on to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television here in Ibadan. Thank you so much for being part of us. But now we'll go on a break. When we return, we'll go straight to Sports Dominion.
right, welcome back. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. It's now time to go over for sports. That's Dominion Sports, or you call it Daybreak Sports. And Boluaji Ogmola is on standby. Hello, Bolu.
Good morning to you, Abby.
Good morning, Bolu. Good to see you today.
Absolutely.
I believe you have a lot for us on sports.
Definitely quite a lot to talk about.
All right,
on
welcome.
The show this morning.
Please go ahead.
All right, there you have it. It's another beautiful morning once again to talk sport. Let's kickstart from the National Sport Festival, where Oyo State government has charged Team Oyo to represent the state with passion, determination, of course, as they go and represent the state at the National Sport Festival. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, that's Barrister Adebayo Lawal, charged the athletes to play fair and clean. Of course, the Deputy Governor, that's Barrister Lawal, made the declaration at the reception of the Touch of Unity for the first festival at the entrance of the Oyo State Governor's office, Agodi, right here in the city of Ibadan yesterday. Now, Governor Makinde assured athletes of the state government's support and commitment, of course, to ensure that they, perform excellently well at the competition. He also promised that the government is doing everything possible to ensure that the right infrastructures are in place, training facilities are also in place, and of course they have a conducive environment to train. He urged athletes to aim for podium finishes, and of course bring glory to Oyo State and uphold sportsmanship, integrity, unity throughout the festival. Now, the governor also promised to recognize and reward athletes who bring pride and honor to Oyo State. The Touch of Unity symbolizes peace, unity, and brotherhood among Nigeria's 36 states and the FCT. Now, the festival is billed to start on Friday, the 16th day in the month of May, around to the 30th of May 2025. From there, let's talk Nigerian Women Football League this morning. It is the playoffs as usual, and there you have it on your screen. The Nigerian Women Football League Premiership Super 6 brought a fresh drama to Ikenne yesterday. Yesterday was day 3 of the event, with defending champions Edo Queens, of course, recording their first win. Nasarawa Amazons edging a tight contest against Rivers Angels, and Bayelsa Queens ending Remo Star Ladies' perfect run in the competition. There you have it on your screen, all of the matches played, of course, during the game. All right, let's move away. Let's talk about the CHAN competition this morning. Away from the Super 6, South Africa became the final nation to qualify for the 2024 African Nations Championship, of course, with a 2-0 victory over Malawi. Goals from Victor and Captain Neil proved enough for the host to win that competition. Yes, let's take a look at the groupings now, away from the Nigerian Women Football League, and there you have the entire groupings. Where we have Nigeria is Group D. Of course, so we have Senegal, Equatorial Guinea, Sudan, and Nigeria in Group D. The competition, of course, will start in the next 2-3 months. That's in August. Yes, let me inform you that Group A has Kenya, Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, Zambia. Group B has Tanzania, who are also co-host, Madagascar, Mauritania, Burkina Faso, Central African Republic. Group C has Uganda, who is also a co-host, Niger, Guinea, Algeria, South Africa. Groups D are Senegal, Equatorial Guinea, Sudan, and Nigeria. And of course, Equatorial Guinea actually replaced Congo-Brazzaville, who were thrown out of the competition for fielding an ineligible player. Away from that, let's go to the Premier League this morning. Let's go to the Premier League this morning and talk about our own, of course, Taiwo Awoniyi. Awoniyi we understand that he's in an induced coma after undergoing emergency surgery yesterday. Awoniyi was injured in the closing stages of his club's 2-2 draw with Leicester City in the Premier League on Sunday. Now, earlier yesterday, the club released a statement which said that the Nigerian was recovering well so far. Of course, unfortunately, he had to undergo surgery yesterday, and we wish our brother Taiwo Awoniyi all the very best, and of course, we wish him a very, very quick recovery from there. Well, away from the Nigerian player, let's quickly check on the NBA this morning, where the Indiana Pacers reached the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals, for the second year running by beating top seed the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 5. Right now, they won in the early hours of today, 114 to 105 points, and they are now 4-1 ahead. Cavaliers, they're out. Pacers are into the conference finals. And of course, in the second game played earlier today, it is now 3-2 in favor of the Thunders following this morning's result. OKC Thunders winning against the Denver Nuggets 112 to 105 points. Well, let's move straight to the world, and there you have the chat this morning. Well, because of our time, let's head straight to the world of football and talk a championship this morning. And there you have it on your screen this morning as Dan Bollard scored in additional time to ensure that Sunderland tied that game to 1-1 and qualified 3-2 on aggregate. Of course, to make the finals of the playoffs for this year, even as they will face the Blades, that's Sunderland, in the playoffs coming up later this weekend to know who gets promoted to the Premier League. That's sport this morning. Back to Ebi and Part.
All right, thank you, Bolu. Well done.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much for watching Daybreak Live. Thank you for letting us into your home. Well done, people. We appreciate you. And I want to take this time before I leave to appreciate, I'm led. I want to appreciate the producer of Daybreak Live, Grace Aino. I want to appreciate the head of production, Mr. Ayo. I want to appreciate my wonderful cameraman in the studio. Well done. We appreciate you, Mr. Michael, Mr. Shitu, and Toby. Thank you so much for the work you do. May God crown your efforts. All right, that's how it is today on Daybreak Live. I hope you join us tomorrow for another exciting edition. My name is Ebi Dickinson. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
All right, my name is Pat Aito, saying that you should believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. Do have a wonderful day.
I had no doubt in my mind that with this collection, we are going to set agenda. More importantly, we are going to enforce social ethics.